Hi all, my name is Maria. I'm a technical project manager at Marc O'Polo, and I'm here today with my colleague Johannes to talk with you about the power of headless connecting CMS and e-commerce. Here are our agenda points. First of all, you will dive with me into the topic why we wanted to change if everything was stable, how we built the new setup to reach a new level, and why we decided for Storyblok within our project. Afterwards, Johannes will guide you through how we integrated Storyblok, and he has some fancy use cases for you that you will hopefully be impressed by. Okay, then let's directly start. For our old e-commerce system, we used Salesforce Commerce Cloud. So within this monolith, I think you all know, we have everything in one place. You have the product, you have the orders, you have certain promotion logics that you can use. You have all your customer data in there. You have your prices, your stock, of course, a few content options and options for personalization. And at a first sight, this one looks pretty nice to me, right? But then there are also a few buts in the setup. So you have, as a customer, no impact on the product. So Salesforce is a huge company. And if you want to change something, it takes a long time. And the time to customer for us, therefore, gets too long. You have no headless setup. You have basically no CMS. You have hardly any flexibility within this super stable setup. Encoding feels for a developer sometimes like 1990. So we asked ourselves within the setup, are we future ready? And we thought no. Because we don't want to do everything a bit. So all the points that you've seen before, they're cool, they're stable, they're doing it quite good, but just everything a bit. So if you want to cover it all, you just kind of do everything a bit, but nothing perfect. So if you go into the depth, for example, for the topic personalization, for the topic product, for the topic front end, you just stumble across points that limits you and where you can't just go to the next level. So we thought, okay, we need to focus on where to make a difference for the customer. So the customer these days, he has 1,000 options to buy his products online. Everything is offering everything. So we want to make a difference here so that the customer buys in our shop. And therefore we thought, okay, we need to do not everything a bit, but everything perfect. And who does it perfect? I think it's ourselves, because we know our customer best. We have our in-house software development team here, and we want to have maximum flexibility. So we do it ourselves. We want to be in the driver's seat. And then we split up this monolith in different subsystems that we gave with the ones who does it best. For example, the e-commerce system itself, we built up with About You. So we switched from the Salesforce Commerce Suite to the About You cloud because they just do it really good. As well as the checkout. So our checkout is a white label solution by About You because they just do these things really good. Next topic, personalization. Personalization for our customers. You really need to have a deep insight into the customer to make these things work. And who knows the customer better than ourselves? Nobody. So we do this ourselves. Cross-channel functions. So we don't only have here our online store, but also offline stores, so our retail. And we need to connect these two channels for our customers to have the perfect experience. And this is something that we're also doing ourselves. The front end. So the most important touch point for the customer, we're also building ourselves because we want to have flexibility. We want to have the speed that we can generate, and we want to minimize the time to customers. So we're also doing this ourselves. And then last but not least, you all guessed it, it's the CMS. Within this project, we didn't only implement one CMS, but 1.5, 2 CMSs. I will talk about that more later. But this one is now with Storyblok, and we are really glad about that because it's a super stable solution. And I hope that at the end of this presentation, you also feel the same. Okay, so set up to a new level, how we tackled this project. So for this whole thing, switching from the monolith to a headless setup, doing everything new, so front end, back end, CMS, the checkout, we had 12 months. So we started in March 2020, and our go live date was March 2021, so beginning of this year. Within this year, we wanted to do these 4 things, and afterwards we want to present a first version of our online shop to the customer, go live with an A/B test, so test for 8 weeks, and afterwards do a full go live, because during this A/B test, you notice a few things where you need to tweak a bit, so make a perfect experience for your customer. Within this 12 months, 366 days, we developed over 1,000 tickets, and around 30 full-time employees worked on this project. So how we set up the project structure was we had one project lead, which leads to sub-project leads. So one who was responsible for the technical stuff. So as you see here, all the architecture decisions that you need to make in the beginning. And the checkout. How do you integrate the checkout? How do you optimize this white label solution? How we want to integrate our order management. So how we are routing the orders, how we make the best experience for our customers here. And of course, never forget the testing, so quality assurance. He also managed that one. On the other hand, you have the business lead. He took care of the requirements for all the content stuff that we will also talk about later. He took care of the operations, the PIM system, so where all the product data is coming from, and all the online marketing topics. So then into the project, here a few requirements that we listed down for a CMS. For example, Marc O'Polo online shop is represented in 40 countries and 8 languages. This is kind of a lot if you don't have too many people to maintain it. You need to have a smart setup, how to maintain it. So you need an inheritance logic and a proper language grouping, so we don't do things double. We had a long feature list, here just a short snippet of it. So we want to have content schedulable, so there's nobody at the weekend who pushes content live, of course. You want to have a proper scheduling that you can trust, that you don't always need to look after, but that works. We wanted to have a live preview, so for us it's super important how the stuff looks in the end for the customer. So it's not only filling in some metrics into a user interface, but it's also you need to have a look how it looks in the end. We wanted to have a flexible attribute handling, because for us it's never the same. On one day you have this content module with these attributes, then you evolve, you adapt to the customer, you have no ideas coming from different departments, so you need to adapt. And for us, it was super important to have maximum flexibility here, that we can do our own. We wanted to have a WYSIWYG editor and a drag and drop function, because for a content team, it's super important to not only be fast and convenient when they do their daily work with it, but also if you onboard new employees or other people into the system, it needs to be understandable. It doesn't help anyone if you just read through documentation for days and for weeks, and then you get productive. You need to be productive very, very soon, and therefore you need a nice system. And also linking to existing pages. So if you link your pictures, your videos, your texts, you don't want to copy paste different URLs for different languages. You need to have a smart setup here so that your daily work and your workload is not increasing too much. And here just a glance at our modules. So for us, content modules are like content sections that you can build. And within these modules, when we built this first within the project with the first CMS solution that we decided for, we struggled a lot. With Storyblok, they are possible. So for example, an anchor module, you want to anchor to a certain point at the page so that the customer doesn't need to scroll to get to the relevant content that you linked on. We wanted to have a hotspot module. So if you have a product picture where multiple products are on, you want to link this special product on this special point on the image. So this needs to be maintainable for desktop as well for mobile within this content management system. We wanted to have a countdown module, so to tell our customers when certain events are happening, how long he has to wait until the event is going live. And of course, never forget about the SEO fact. So everything on the page needs to be SEO ready for the search engines so that you have a good ranking and you make a lot of turnover. Yeah. Then why we decided for Storyblok. So as I told you before, we didn't implement like one CMS. We implemented like 1.5 to 2 CMSs within this project. So at the beginning, we decided for a CMS that after 200 days, we noticed was not the proper solution for us. So Johannes approached me. He's like, Maria, okay, within this project, I have the feeling if you go on with this solution, it's not going to be a success. So we have a real problem here. You're like more than halfway through the project. You notice, okay, a very, very big part of it is just not working. So what are you going to do? You are looking for other solutions. You have to make it super fast, not to lose any more time. So we decided to look a few days for other solutions. We want to try something out, and we want to check if, for example, these complex modules that I've shown you before are working with the system, because if they can make this complex stuff work, I think they can also make the simple stuff work. Yeah. So then we found Storyblok. We built a prototype with it. We convinced the business departments. And with 166 days left within this project, we got rid of this old CMS solution. We killed it and we introduced Storyblok. Yeah. And how we integrated that exactly, Johannes is going to talk with you about now.
Thanks, Maria, and a big welcome also from my side. My name is Johannes, and I am a software developer at Marc O'Polo, and that's why we are getting a bit more technical now. So the question was, how were we able to integrate Storyblok with our new API-based system? As Maria already mentioned, we have now a totally new setup. So we have our online shop that is built now as a single-page application with Vue.js and Nuxt.js for server-side rendering. We are having a CDN up front and a little bit of Redis for better caching. And now, so with the single-page application approach, we now need to fetch data from different API systems. So we have our eCommerce system in place, which contains product and category data. We have our content in our CMS, which is Storyblok. We have our CRM that contains our customer data. And whenever we need something new or something individual, we build it on AWS, for example, our store finder and also our click and collect logic. So yeah, now the question is how these APIs fit nicely together. So first, let's have an example. Let's look at our e-commerce system and our CMS system, because they need to work tight together. Imagine you having a category page. So it could look like this. This is one of ours. So we have different data showing up here. We have e-commerce data, so categories, products, but we also have content data, which is a custom headline, or could be an image, could be whatever. So to fetch the data from our front end, we use the URL as our identifier, and then we fetch our e-commerce system. We fetch the categories and the products of these categories. So this is the leading system. So the question now here is, how can we ensure that we have in Storyblok the same structure, the same category structure with all the subcategories, stuff like that, as we have it in our e-commerce system? And of course, there is an easy way. You could just go to Storyblok, create your pages, create your folders, subpages, stuff like that, and then you're done. At Marc O'Polo, we have, depending on its season, we have around 400 active categories. So for us, and they could change, they could move around, they could be split, they could be merged, and to maintain those manually is just a nightmare. So we needed to find an automated solution. And what we did here, so Storyblok offers a management API, which allows you to write or to update, to create stories. So in this example, we created a cron job based on AWS. We get all the category structure from the e-commerce system, and we create the same structure, or update the structure within Storyblok. So how does it look like? We have now a nice overview with all our categories, with all our subcategories, and our content team can just click on the category they want to edit, and they can start editing content and add content. And with this approach, we have also a nice benefit. So since we synced all the categories, we can use the native linking functionality of Storyblok. So it's just very easy to create links from one page to a category page. All right, so this example is quite straightforward. So let's move on and check another use case. So the question is, how can we manage the manual sorting. You might think now, okay, there should be a machine learning algorithm, automated thing in place that takes care of your order of your products. And you might be right, and we are doing that. But we are a very brand-driven company. So for us, yeah, and in some use cases, it makes sense to put specific products up front. Imagine just a newsletter campaign. A customer gets a newsletter, sees products, clicks on a link, and he wants to see, of course, the same products in the online shop than he saw before in newsletter. So it makes some sense in some cases. Anyway, so the default product list is, of course, coming from our e-commerce system. And yeah, what we wanted to achieve is have a manual product list or manual sorted product list above. And yeah, we were then thinking where to put it. Our e-commerce system wasn't really fitting our needs. So what we did is, what we also wanted is having a nice preview of how the page would look like in the end. So we, for example, wanted to combine specific products or specific colors, group them as we want. So we needed to have a nice preview. And for things like that, Storyblok is the perfect fit with this live preview functionality. So what we built the probably simplest component ever in Storyblok, which is basically just a text field. And in this text field, we can set up the product IDs. And there are some integrations already from Storyblok where you get a nice product picker. You could also build your own. In our case, it totally fits us. If it totally fits, we have product IDs. We just need to copy paste them. So this is now how it looks like in Storyblok. So we having the default product list fetching from e-commerce system like always, and we're having additionally above this manually set product. So the product IDs coming from Storyblok, and the product data itself we are fetching from the e-commerce system. It turned out that we want to have a heavily manual sorted function in place. So creating this product or adding this product one by one, it was a bit annoying. So that's why we used custom plugin. And this is now how it looks like in the red area. So a custom plugin is basically an iframe with your total autark application. So you can do whatever you want. You can show whatever you want. You can do API calls, whatever you want. And in our case, we just provided a text field where our content team can add a product list, comma separated. And then we are using the Storyblok UI to upgrade the same story via the management API. So it's just so it's much easier to create this component. And I'm not sure if it's intended like this, but it totally works. So that was a very nice thing to see how powerful actually Storyblok is and how flexible you are. Let's go back to our category page. So you might think it's done, but actually it's not. This things marked here, they are visible only in Storyblok. So the content team, as I said, they can shuffle things around, they can modify, and as soon they are done, they save it. And the problem with this approach is there are too many APIs calls going around. You have product data from the default product. The default products coming from the category. Then you need to fetch the categories ID made in Storyblok, and then you need to fetch again the product data in the e-commerce system. So too many APIs going on. And basically what we wanted to achieve is kind of merge those two systems. So at the end, you need to do only one call. Also, if you think in terms of sorting pagination, you get in trouble if you showing a product list of 2 different sources. Yeah. And yeah, so at the end, we wanted to have something like this. So we want to have one call from our e-commerce system that is giving already the best sorting. So boosted or manual sorted products above, and then the default list. And how we do that? This way, we switch the logic. So we read. So we have a cron job again. We read the data from Storyblok and we update the sorting of our products within our e-commerce system. And yeah, that's basically that's it. Let's have a look at our next use case. Personalized content. So I guess it's like a bit topic. So it's, what we wanted to do is if we have a normal landing page here, we wanted to show specific content for a specific customer group to first of all, to make the user experience better. And second, to increase conversion, of course. And in this example, we wanted to show a nice banner, to all the users that didn't sign up yet to the newsletter, to incentive them a little more. And if we check again at our architecture, what we are doing now, we are connecting now content with our CRM data. So the data, the information, if the user is logged in or not, is coming from the CRM. And the data we want to show is coming from Storyblok or from CMS. In our case, we created data sources. You might think this is a bit static or hard-coded, and yes, and it totally fits us. Feel free to use the API calls, so you can have dynamic customer groups. In our case, it was fitting very well. And with this data sources, we have now the possibility to set for each block or content module, you can set a visibility. You can say in which customer you want to show this banner or this headline and stuff like that. So as you see in the right side, there's now this nice drop down. And at the result, we have one page for users that already have a newsletter opt-in, and we have another page for users that don't have a newsletter opt-in. Here you need to be aware of the caching. For example, we have a CDN up front, and you potentially could cache 2 versions of the page. We didn't do that. We said whatever comes from the server is treated as a guest content or guest page, guest user. And on the client, we add stuff, move stuff, hide stuff. And there might be a flickering, but it was okay for us because it affects only a very few pages. And the second thing is, since we are a single page application, it really happens on the first server load. So after you enter the page, our client or our single page application kicks in and the client takes over. But just be aware of caching here. Think about it. A next use case I've prepared is promotions. So what we wanted to achieve here, so we have multiple promotions going on, but one use case is a member or a registered customer that is buying 1 or more trousers. He should get free shipping. He shouldn't pay any shipping fees. So now we have a member. This information is coming from the CRM. We have trousers. This information is coming, or products of the category trousers. This information is coming from e-commerce system. And then we have this free shipping configuration. And then we're thinking, where should we put it? We weren't really able to use our e-commerce system. It really didn't fit our needs also in terms of our inheritance of the locales. So we needed some place to put this logic. And then we thought, and then we tried that out with Storyblok. And I will show you how it looks like. So in this case, we are now connecting 3 systems to each other. So in Storyblok, as you can see now, it's not, the live preview is gone. You don't necessarily need the live preview. You can just, use it as a normal formula. And the nice thing is you can add the fields you need. And it's pretty simple to add fields, change fields, delete fields. And so in here, we can see, the customer groups, CRM again, the categories. And here it's pretty nice because in use case 1, if you remember, we were already syncing our categories within Storyblok. So the categories are already there. And here we can use the native, the native linking functionality. And additionally, we can set the validation date and also the callout message. And in the front end, we just fetch this data and how it looks like. So we can now set to specific products a callout message to incentive user to buy. And also we use this data to calculate the shipping costs. And it's actually pretty easy. So with Storyblok totally fits in an API-based architecture. It is really, really powerful because it's so simple. It's you have a tool which allows you to build kind of everything. It's not the question if it's possible. It's just a question how you're gonna approach that and how you're gonna do your things. And just one more thing I want to mention. I would recommend to consider Storyblok not only as a CMS, but more like a backend system. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have questions, let me know. Bye bye. Have a nice day.